Now, food charities in the West say they're expecting a big rise in the number of families using food banks over the summer holidays.
Fair Share and Feeding Bristol both say that parents whose children receive free school meals are struggling with extra food costs. Now a campaign's being launched to help with the increase in demand. Osob Elmi reports.
Providing food for those who need it the most. Staff at the Weston-super-Mare Food Bank are getting ready for a summer rush.
Mostly tin stuff really, like beans, biscotti, soups, potatoes as well, and biscuits, drinks, all sorts of stuff. It is important, it's very important, yeah. Because like these places are important to come to when you need them.
And more people do need them, especially during the long school holidays when free school meals are no longer on offer.
Worries about finances and food and holiday hunger are probably one of the biggest concerns that we have for families and children in our school. We have got families who are surviving literally on pennies a day, which means often that other things go without.
In the UK, there are almost 1 in every 3 children living in a low-income family. In Bristol, that's 17,000, with almost 1 in every 5. And in Weston-super-Mare, it's even higher, with 4 in 10.
This is our quiet time as far as donations go, so we then end up in a situation we might have empty shelves because of the increased amount of people we see.
Food banks are asking for more donations to meet the increased demand. And in Bristol, the charity Fair Share is helping event organisers to cater for children during the school holidays.
This summer we're launching Activate Bristol that will provide food for a range of clubs across the city, from boxing clubs, holiday projects, adventure playgrounds. They'll take our food, prepare meals and feed the kids that are turning up for those activities.
And they're hoping some food and fun will bring smiles back to the faces of children in Bristol. Osob Elmi, BBC Points West.
Andy Street is from Feeding Bristol. Welcome along. Why in this day and age are children going hungry?
That's a very good question. Question I ask myself often. The reality is, even in a very wealthy city like Bristol, in the 5th largest economy in the globe, we have a key issue. It's partly political. I don't like to get political, but the reality is we have challenges around benefits and universal credit and the simple ability for many people to be able to access good quality food regularly.
I know that people at home will be watching thinking, I was brought up in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s, whatever it was, when we had far less, and yet hunger wasn't a common thing. We didn't have food banks.
No, we didn't. And the reality is, in many situations in a city like Bristol, the rich have got richer and the poor are struggling even more to supply the basics of life and put food on the table. It's a crying shame, and Fair Share and Feeding Bristol are in place to try and respond to that, and not just to meet immediate need, but to start the whole, change the whole culture of a city and how we provide for people so everybody has access to good quality food.
The other big issue in public health terms is childhood obesity.
Yes.
So how are these actually linked?
Very closely. The reality is that the number of people, number of children and adults who can't get enough food is relatively small. The reality is the quality of the food. So it's a combination of access to food on a regular basis, but also good quality, nutritious food. So obesity is also a significant part of what we often term food poverty.
And what can the public do to help?
Well, the public have responded incredibly well already over the summer. We unfortunately were let down by central government. We didn't get a grant that we'd hoped to get. Other cities got it, we didn't. But we put an appeal out to the city, and the city has responded incredibly well. Public, business, the council itself, other organisations, and we've come up with a solution with funding in place and a large number of volunteers, and we're able to put in place a response to support children on free school meals right across the city in an extraordinary way.
OK. Good to see you, and thanks for the work that you and all the volunteers do. Thank you.